Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Amerlon, and today I'm going to introduce you to Gezel, which is a piece of software that I built that helps you manage local AI agents that run on your device, that are powered by your hardware, that all run locally, that you can use to do some pretty cool things. So this is the application Gezel. You can see it right in front of me, and there's a lot of things to see here, so I'll go through them all. Um, Basically, the idea behind Gezel, or Gezel, as it would probably be said in the Netherlands, is that you have these agents, these little individual role specific agents that you can see over here. If I expand the Gezellen menu, you can see all the different names of the gazelles that are inside of my projects that are doing work for me, that I can give them their own name. They have their own appearance, but they all have these specialized tasks. So, for example, there's a developer, which is Ludmilla, who is the developer who writes code, who builds websites, who does those kinds of things. We have a number of other specialized roles like designers and planners. We have some ones like the boekwachter, which is more of a indexing type of Gazelle role that is used to take all the files inside of your different folders that you give it permission to and build an index of them so that it's actually much more useful for future Gazelle projects. But that's one of the founding ideas of Gazelle is, especially when you're working with local models, it's really important to give them very fixed functions and very focused roles so that they can do one thing and they can do it really, really well. And that's why one of the ideas is that we break down agents into these specific roles, each with their own description, each with their own separate set of tools and everything like that. Now, when you first boot Gazelle, you'll be speaking with your maester. That's a very specific type of role. You can think of it as kind of the concierge for the Gazelle app. And when you go to the maester and you say, hey, let's go build a website for a tank combat game, your maester will turn around and say, hey, let me go create a project for that. Let me go build a crew of Gazellen to actually go run inside of that project. And then, we can go get that tank combat game. If you're a fan of Atari, we can go get that built and we can see what it looks like. So you can see that it was actually assigned to Ludmilla. Ludmilla is actually building out in the tank combat website project, which I can click on over here. And you can see that actually Ludmilla is already done and it's been assigned to the reviewer, which is a different role, Boryavoy, who is actually doing the work to review it to make sure that it looks good. So you can see how we already have these built-in workflows that make it easy to work with different types of projects. In this case, building an arcade game, but if you wanted to do a research project or anything like that, you could go do it. And so one of the other ideas behind this is we actually try to build in all the right user experiences into this shell that is Gezel, so that you can actually, for example, just see the web page straight in line. You don't have to go to a separate website or run a separate build tool or do anything technical like that. You can see that the chat is continuing. Boryavoy is reviewing it, but I can actually go play it. And let's see. Oh, hey, it's actually cool. Well, the arrow keys are backwards, but yeah, and space doesn't seem to work. So, maybe it wasn't ready yet, but you can see that this is still a work in progress and the validation is going on. So Gazelle contains a whole bunch of different tasks and skills. We call them craft books, which are more structured ways to actually go view this. In fact, if I open up this full task, you can see all the phases of building the tank combat game landing website. You can see that there's a build task, there's an evaluate task, which Boryavoy is working on, and then there will be a finish with Chloe, who is maybe the Vorman. The Vorman is basically the project manager who will review that everything is accomplished inside of the project. So that's a little bit of the philosophy of Gazelle, breaking things down into roles, little, hopefully cute or hopefully nice agents that you can manage and design and, work through. For example, if I go click on Ludmilla, you can see that Ludmilla has a identity and a style and those kinds of things. Also has a set of tools. A developer needs to be able to access tools for writing out files, for running scripts, and those kinds of things. Whereas maybe a designer, they need more tools to create images and stuff like that. Because we can differentiate them, we can make it more efficient to run on your local hardware. So speaking of hardware, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, this is running on the PC right down here. You maybe can hear the GPU fan running in the background. This will essentially run on your local computer hardware. And if you've got like a new MacBook, if you've got a PC with a GPU inside of it, we can leverage that hardware to do all of the AI locally, not going to the cloud, not actually, costing you any money outside of the hardware that you have and the electricity that's used to run it. So you can see in this case, nothing is running quite right now, but you can see that I have an ATI or an AMD Radeon AI Pro R9700, and it's got 32 gigabytes of memory, and we can fit a couple of local models in here. For most tasks, I'm using Qwen 3.6, which is a really awesome model. 27B, really great model for doing things locally. It's not as good as, for example, Claude or ChatGPT by a healthy margin. But the idea behind Gezel is that if we provide enough supports, these very specific Gezel roles, if we have these very structured tasks, we can actually make this Qwen 3.6 27B actually work nearly as good as a frontier model, especially for moderately complicated productivity tasks like building a web game. So you can see here, this is Ludmila's continuing to work on it. Maybe Boryevoy has found some bugs, hopefully, and Ludmila is now working on those. So they'll work as a team to basically put this website together. Now, the other things you can do, I have this larger code base. I'm actually pointing at the Gezel code base itself. And what's useful here is that you can use your local AI to do things like create like an accessibility report. Now, in this case, I actually used a cloud model, Claude Opus 4.8 via Copilot. But there's also other cases where I've, let's see if there's, maybe some security reviews or those kinds of things that you can do. And so even if your hardware isn't running local AI very quickly, we have a whole facility in place called Night Shift, where you can actually have, on a nightly basis when your computer's not in use, have it generate security reports or accessibility reports or those kinds of things that can actually help you improve the quality of your code. Basically, enqueue a set of tasks that leverage your hardware at night, maybe when you're not actually working on it. So you get all the benefits of smart AI intelligence working on your tasks and working on them in such a way that it doesn't require you to pay any money or go through a cloud provider. You can do it all locally on the hardware that you probably already have. So that's another example of working in sort of a larger code base. One of the things that's kind of cool is we also try to make the process of working with large code bases easier. So you can see the preview of different pages that are inside of this code base over on the left-hand side. You can see a set of commands, which includes a set of tasks and those kinds of things, but also the NPM scripts that are registered inside of my package JSON. We're trying to de-nerd the process of working with code bases so that it's more straightforward to see everything that's going on. So simplifying code bases, that's another thing. See, we have this idea of like different project types. So one could be maybe a language tutor. And here what you're going to do is a language tutor project type comes with a scoreboard so you can see your journey as you learn a language. But the cool thing about this is we can have local agents. And so here I have Sophia. I can say, how do you say this is a cool demo in Spanish, like this. So maybe you want to try to test your, like, maybe I would say like es un demo bueno, but you can have your language trainer correct you and give you the right ways to say it. So now Sophia is probably in the queue of the different things that are going on here. And Sophia will get back to me once the queue opens up. Again, not as fast as cloud AI, but it's running locally, so it's all cool. I'll come back to this in just a second. I have checkers. You can play checkers with your AI. That's more for me to test things, but you get the idea. Now, again, the hallmark of this is also to make it very easy to work with models and custom local models. It's pretty technical behind the scenes, but the beauty of Gezel, if nothing else, is that we allow you to easily download different types of models and different types of things that you can run on your device. There's some really great models. Gemma 4 is a really great series. Qwen is a really great series. There's more to come. If you have like a super high-end Mac, we can actually run DeepSeek through Dwarf Star 4. So you can actually get like this pretty close to frontier level coding experience. Maybe it's not super fast, but really good AI that runs locally. That can serve a lot of roles as you're doing development. And again, you don't have to worry about tokens because it's just running on your local hardware. But again, the key scenario for Gezel is that it actually simplifies running with all these custom local models. You don't have to use the command line or anything nerdy like that. So this just shows you a little bit of everything that's going on inside of Gezel. Maybe we'll come back to the Spanish language tutor. Still waiting in the queue to go ahead and get started. Okay, well, we'll come back in just a second. Let's see, anything else to show? We have a whole document management infrastructure, so you can write documents, which then in turn become kind of the knowledge base that your gezellen will use to actually accomplish projects. So you can do that. Let's see, anything else that's cool? This is the night shift, as I said now. One of the cool things is that when you add different gazelles of different role types to a project, by going to settings, you can see that sometimes they'll come with their own tasks. So in this case, there's an error here, but the idea would be that you can add different roles, like a chief security officer, for example. And what the chief security officer will do is run maybe security reviews that happen every night. So you get this whole package of functionality every time you add a gazelle to your project. Let's see if the Spanish language is up yet. Almost there. All right. So yeah, it took a little while waiting in the queue for Sophia to be able to answer because we're queuing everything on the current GPU, which is running a little warm, a little hot. This GPU runs a little hot. But you can see that, okay, now Sophia is thinking about how to respond to my, how do you say, this is a cool demo in Spanish. So definitely doing a lot of thinking about it. Esto es un demo genial. So one of the things behind the scenes is that we also do a lot of tuning and a lot of evaluations and A/B testing to try to coax the most out of models that are possible to get the right balance of them doing thinking versus them getting to work. So we have this whole system, through all the computers that you probably see behind me, maybe not, for testing and evaluating all the different models and how they're performing, just so that you have an idea, so that we can make these models really perform at their best. And we're continuing to iterate. I'm continuing to iterate on making them really awesome, and the like. And so you can see that my language trainer has come back to me with, how you would say that in Spanish. How would I say thanks? That is really helpful, like this. And hopefully, well, now Sophia's back in another part of the line, but ideally you'd have more of a conversation once it gets a little warm. It's much quicker than taking 3 minutes to get back a response. So yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of Gezel. Stay tuned for a lot of videos on this channel for different facets of it, because there's so much here to explore and so many different ideas and concepts that have been working on. Maybe not all the concepts are going to work out. Maybe they don't make sense, but you can get a feel for what Gezel does, which is leverage local AI to improve your productivity. It's free, honest, open source software, so you can download it below. See the links below. It's still an early preview, so it's definitely very rough. You saw a couple bugs even just in looking at this right now. But I'd love your feedback. So by all means, please, if you have a device that you're willing to maybe test this on, please give me your feedback, and we'll make this really awesome for people to do cool things with AI without requiring the cloud subscription or the cloud gatekeeping and all that kind of fun stuff. Thanks for watching. See you soon.